How's it going?
How's it going? It's going great.
Great. You call really me like exciting. A Teru-chan. It's nice. Like really, like you're Japanese. Very, very Japanese.
Okay. But see, Japanese people, they make lots of nicknames with people's names. So like Teru-chan, Teru-pin, Teru-pi, toka.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Teru-chan, Teru-teru. Like something like that. That's I think it's a really Japanese thing that it makes you more friendly. Now, how long have you been living in Japan?
This time total about 3.5 years. So not a lot of time, but as I mentioned in the previous video, I've had some connection with Japan for about 16 years now. So quite a long time. Yeah.
Great. So let me just quickly explain. So Ali we just met at the consultation. He actually applied my course, and then like I said, okay, you can already speak. You don't need to take my course. But we became kind of friends. And then, we actually exchanged Instagram, and then like we kind of sometimes more chatting, and it's really fun talking. And also Ali is, I think you have your own business, right? Like a computer, like a programmer?
A freelance.
Nice. Yeah, and now 3 years live in Japan, but also 16 years, like you have visited many times in Japan.
Just once or twice, and then 3 years was the longest. This 3 years is the longest I've been in Japan.
And then so Ali is from UK, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, great. You don't feel like you want to go back to the UK till now?
Never. I'm having too much fun in Japan to ever
really?
Go back to the UK.
Wow, amazing. It's really opposite, because our company is British company, and I really love to live in, the whole Europe in general. Right. I'm not like living in the UK all the time, but I love to stay here. And like totally opposite side, because you actually from the UK, you really love to stay in Japan forever. So
I really can't think of any reason I would go back to the UK, because I think a lot of Gaijin in Japan, they come here and they have some image of Japan, and that the real Japan doesn't quite meet what they imagined. Whereas when I came here, the image I had, the real Japan is better than the image.
Really? Better?
I'm having so much fun here. Yeah, like it's crazy fun.
Wow, that's so interesting. What is wow, this is totally different from the, like my imagination or like YouTube or, newspaper. What was the biggest difference?
I like the kind of aesthetics of Japan, the way everything looked. I like the idea of Japanese food, though I hadn't eaten it at the time very much. And I also knew that Japanese people were very friendly. But when I got here, Japan, it looks much better in real life than it does in pictures. The food is much better than I imagined. The people are much more friendly than I imagined as well. So one of the things I thought would be good, it turned out to be a great deal more fun and better than I imagined them. And I think part of the reason, which leads us on to the topic of today's video, I think, is that I had very early on an ability to relate to Japanese people in Japanese in a very kind of fluid and natural way that allowed me to have a lot of fun experiences in Japan. Like, for example, going to restaurants where they don't really allow foreigners in. It was easy to get in because I could speak Japanese reasonably well. And just having experiences with lots of different types of Japanese people, because I was able to speak Japanese, it really opened up my relationships with people, both with men and with women. So I think that was one of the biggest reasons why I think I enjoy Japan a little bit more than the average foreigner that's living here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you tell me, because sometimes, I do consultation and some people say Japanese people are not friendly. Like it's the recently I did the consultation. He was from Australia, and he had lived in, I think, China and then Korea. And he actually moved to Japan, and he said that it's when he was living in China, Chinese people actually doesn't matter like if they can understand English or broken English or even Chinese, they actually try to talk to me all the time. But it's when I started living in Japan, no one talked to me. Like it seems like not friendly, and then like he felt like they're not friendly. Can you explain have you ever felt like that?
I think I've always been super focused on Japan. So I like traveling when I was younger, but right now I would be happy to live the rest of my life in Japan. And for that reason, I focused very hard on having Japanese that Japanese people would understand and be able to relate to, which means that I'll give you an example. Like on the average night here, 'cause I live in very central Sendai, I'll go out to like a little izakaya with like 8 seats, and I'll eat, and I don't know, I'm well known around there, they know my face, and then some like maybe 2 salaryman will come and sit next to me or whatever, and they'll have some drinks and I'll have some drinks, and then they'll start talking to me, and then they'll talk to me, I'll talk to them, we'll get to know each other, then we'll go to another place together.
Wow, that's amazing.
But wait, drink some more, then end up at a kabakura after that. Right?
Yeah, that's really common, right? Japanese style.
And that like 3 or 4, like if I went out every weeknight, there's a good possibility that would happen every night.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That happens almost once or twice a week right now, that kind of pattern, right?
Wow.
So for me, it's kind of impossible to see Japanese people as not friendly, because I have so many fun experiences like that with people. But again, the reason I think is probably to do with the way you have conversations with Japanese people and how much social fluency you have, and that is to do with, and we talked about this before started this call, but that's to do with pronunciation and intonation and having ways to smoothly move the conversation forward and not to stay on like the certain boring Gaijin topics of just like what's different between Japan and stuff like that. So
yeah, I totally agree, because I think it's even any country is the same, I'm living in Greece, and I speak Greek also. That if I actually speak super slow or with a bad pronunciation, I don't think they want to carry on the conversation with me. It's just like they got tired, or like, oh, it's okay, like thank you, good luck, Gaijin, I think they got
yeah,
I think that's same everywhere.
But like you mentioned that like you wanted your students to like focus more on pronunciation, and I think that the merits of having that good pronunciation is that you get to have it becomes like a rolling kind of a pattern that builds on itself. Like you get better pronunciation, you have better conversations, more practice, and then that makes your pronunciation better, then more conversations, more practice. So you get this kind of nice like feedback loop of like having good experiences and also studying Japanese, because I don't study Japanese from a textbook.
Yeah, exactly. I'm deadly dead, like I'm telling you, like everybody, it's okay. You went to izakaya, for example, somebody went to izakaya and then they wanted to talk something, and then the first step, I think they feel stuck in that it's somebody talk to me and I don't understand, and then I couldn't answer anything, right? That's happened, right? If somebody cannot understand very well, and then the next step, what the people think is, I need to study. And actually they go back to the textbook and they open the textbook, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the bank, post office, and then like a girl is standing over there, boys is like playing tennis or something, right? And then after one year, okay, I studied and went to izakaya, and again same things, somebody talk to me, and then like, I didn't understand. Okay, I need to study again. Like, how many times you doing this, loop that it doesn't work?
One thing I want to mention in general is to just not use Google Translate ever. Never ever use Google Translate.
Yeah, exactly.
How I get new vocab is I go out, I listen to people, have conversations with them, and then when they say some word I don't know, I plug it into my dictionary, right? And that's it. And then I know instead of like a fake textbook context, you have that. I have a real context, real conversation. I remember the feeling of the conversation, like what we were feeling and talking about, and I know that's where you use this word, right? Especially if I get 2 or 3 examples, then that's a much better way of learning new vocab than looking in a textbook when like Taro-san is playing tennis with whatever, right? Like,
never ever you're gonna use it.
For the pronunciation side, I think I don't know how you teach your course, but I think for me, the first thing I did when I wanted to learn Japanese is learn to write hiragana and katakana, because you can't make any noises in Japanese that are not in that list, right? And each one is meant to be the same speed as well, right? Oh, not quite, but most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. At least just the ABC, which is aiueo, hiragana, katakana. Then you don't need to go for kanji if somebody just wanna talk as soon as possible, because it's just a waste of time for like a million years to learn this, thousands of kanji.
Because when Japanese people talk to you and you're trying to understand the sounds they're making, if you can break the sounds into hiragana, that means you can at least put the word into the dictionary, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't know hiragana and katakana, then you're like, oh, I don't know what that sound was, right? So I feel like that's a really useful thing to have for improving your listening and your pronunciation. The other thing that I think really helps the conversation flow, like the flow of like meaning and energy between people when you're talking, is intonation and like emphasis and stress inside sentences. So for example, I think you mentioned like watashi no namae wa ari desu, and like that kind of sentence, like the way that kind of flow is like, people can't really make guesses about the meaning, even if your pronunciation is bad, if the flow is like that, right?
People, I think, even believe I can't improve the pronunciation.
Yeah, that I've never believed that. I've always thought there's always going to be, places where I can improve my pronunciation. So for example, some people do this when they learn English as well, but I do it the other way. Is like, find one movie that you like, preferably with a main character whose voice you want to copy, right? So for example, I did Abe Hiroshi and Watanabe Ken. Just find like one actor that you like, get a movie where they're in, and then watch that movie hundreds of times, right? Or not even watch it, but just have that playing in the background and get used to like the sentence patterns, the intonations they're doing, and make that natural for yourself. And there's also like textbooks that teach shadowing. The shadowing is like, they have like a CD with like perfect Japanese, and you're meant to copy and see if you can make the same sounds at the same kind of speed and pitch. So there is things that allow you to improve your Japanese pronunciation, but I don't know of a good way other than to like spend a lot of time with Japanese people and try and copy the way they speak and their intonation, things like that.
We do this master course in Japan Language Factory, and what we do to improve pronunciation is, so first of all, they want to go, the fastest way to speak, right? So that's why we actually give the most possible phrases to them, for them. For example, Ali, like, I'm from the UK, or I'm having my own business, I'm freelancer, or something like that. Phrases is any way you can use it, right? All the time. So we give that phrases, and also we even give our coaches audio file. So like I record their voice, our voice. About you can use these phrases, and they can listen and they can follow. And then for me, you can really see my first video on my YouTube channel, how much I improved my English pronunciation. Hello, how are you? It's just 1.5 years. Horrible, like, I cannot see myself. My name is Terumi. How I did it, it's just a simple, because I speak quite same things, right? Like, you cannot study with the textbook, or grammar, it's not useful or something. Like, quite same topics I use, right? Then grammar, let's say, that's words, how many times I use on the YouTube channel. And then maybe in the 1 year before, I was saying grammar, grammar, maybe, like a Japanese pronunciation. But now it's grammar. Then my oral pronunciation got better, because I tried to care, like, it sounds weird, and try to say one more time, oral pronunciation. I think it's a repetition, and also you need to hear the actual native pronunciation to my pronunciation, why so exactly different. Right. So that's why if somebody really want to improve pronunciation, first of all they need to repeat many times the same phrases or same words. For example, Japanese and English, what is the same things is, when you see the like a sentence, you can't see any pronunciation from the sentence. For example, the English, for example, let's say atmosphere, maybe you don't know like atmosphere or like atmosphere, like you don't know from the sentence, right? Which means if you want to improve the pronunciation, first of all, what the native pronounce these words, because the words cannot see. The Japanese also the same, right? Like sensei, is it like sensei or like a sensei or like a sensei? Or you don't know, so you need to ask, like, right?
You have to ask and you have to listen, and also like for me at least, maybe, but I mean your students should know about this as well, but the meaning changes based on the intonation of the sentence completely, right? Even if the words are exactly the same. So for example, if I say nanka kui ni iku, like do you want to go and eat something, or if I say nanka kui ni iku, means I'm gonna go and eat something, right?
Yeah. So, well, wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, that's true.
Completely different depending on how you inflect the end of the sentence, right? if I say, oh, Oni-san, shushin dochira desu ka? That sounds more like I'm interested in you. Like I want to hear what you have to say, right? As opposed to Oni-san, shushin dochira desu ka? Like you need to have like that awareness of like how you're making the other person feel about how you feel, right?
You know, like that's why I always say that speaking, people believe if I want to speak, I have to study. You know, people really say like this. But for me, is speaking is more like singing or like physical activity. You need actually really turn, twist, you know, how actually, you know, use your face, you know, how you use your hand and everything. It's like more physical activity. You study with a textbook million years. I don't think this person can really speak naturally, you know? What do you think? Like the Japanese people, you know, live in Japan, never even like have any contact with foreigner. And then, you know, now it's foreigners start living in Japan. Quite many people start living in Japan. And then the person who can't speak Japanese, which is this foreigner cannot speak Japanese. What is the first, like, you know, the step to actually have the real, like a bit friendship or communication? What is the first step? What do you think as a, you know, you foreigner?
So as a foreigner, like the first step is that like putting yourself in places where Japanese people can talk to you. And if you're really serious and about getting lots of conversation practice, they will go to like a danso cafe or a girls bar for like an hour. And if you look, like there are foreigners now who are learning Japanese by going to danso cafe or going to a girls bar and like going there maybe 2 hours per week or something like that and getting tons of Japanese practice, right? Because
wow, that's amazing. Nice idea.
Okay, so let's say for example, you just go to one of those places or you go to a regular izakaya and the person next to you starts talking to you. Then as a gaijin, you're going to get the same questions thousands of times.
Definitely. I can really imagine.
They're going to be things like, and I prefer not to stay on those, but when you're starting out, you know, like you said earlier, you said that you know, you talk about the same topics over and over again, grammar, studying, how to do the Japanese conversation. In the same way, for maybe the first couple of years, you're going to be talking about the same topics over and over again. Where are you from? Why did you come to Japan? What do you like about Japan? What are the differences between Japan and your country? What can you
really
eat?
Common.
Can you eat natto? All this kind of stuff. Where have you been in Japan? And I think if you take that as like the core of your Japanese personality and like have a repertoire of different things you can say. So for example, you can say, where are you from? And then you can first like just answer like the most basic way, which is igirisu, right? Which is super boring, but it's the correct thing, right? But then like, for example, you get like one word answer to all of those questions. And then think about like a slightly longer answer for each of those questions. Right? So
more a little bit going unique, like, or like more natural.
More natural, and also like giving the other person places to like, okay, you give them places to like take the conversation to another
and also, you know, always I think it's any language also the same, that it's your answer, if it's too short, then it's like the conversation ends so quickly, right? It's better like an answer quite a little bit long than you know.
So for all of those like main questions, and I don't have to list them out, if you go to Japan and just go anywhere, people will start asking you these questions. If there's a question you don't understand, like write it down or put it in your dictionary, and then before the next time you go out, think about how you can answer it. So if you try and understand 100% of everything, then you'll have almost zero flow, right?
I talked like yesterday that, for example, I do some YouTube and also promotion for other company, and I am native Japanese. I understand everything. Doesn't mean I can, you know, make a funny YouTube video, right? I mean, the flow and everything. This is like a normal thing, you know. If somebody's native Japanese, doesn't mean like has an amazing flow to make it the fun conversation. So for foreigner also the same. They know everything from the textbook. Doesn't mean, you know, has a nice natural flow. So yeah, interesting. So thank you so much, Ali. And because I need to go another call, so that's why I need to close this call. But yeah, at least thank you so much, and we're gonna talk like another topics again. So if you want to change your life with a Japanese speaking skill, seriously, join our master course, 2 months. So you can be ready to communicate with Japanese people after 2 months. So for example, you can maybe make Japanese friends, you can enter the Japanese company, you can try more conversation with Japanese people every day. So that's why your speaking skill grow up every day. So these 2 months, we're gonna make a perfect the foundation of your Japanese speaking skill. Then you can start speaking with Japanese people, real life or social media on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere that you can actually have the chance to speak. So if you really want to change your life seriously with Japanese communication skill, speech skill, presentation skill, for the business, for the private, let's join the master course.